You're the winner, Vin. Everybody knows it. I just didn't expect it to be quite as significant as it is. Hey friends! Well, we are in the barn today for a little bit of an experiment, and so I want you guys to come along as we try out something new and let's see how it goes. So this is going to be one of those videos where I don't get to shoot everything all today. This is going to be one of those videos that's going to take me weeks, because today we are starting a new experiment here on our farm. We have always fed... Do you want to be in the video too?
Yeah.
I have my beautiful little helper with me today. Are you a beautiful helper?
Renee.
That's right, your name's Renette.
Hi.
Hi. So my beautiful helper and I, you want to stay in it? Okay, I'll stay with you. So my beautiful helper and I have been working hard today because normally we feed our goats just regular hay, Timothy hay or Johnson grass, or a lot of people around here sell Bermuda. Typically we buy a mix or a coastal. We kind of buy whatever, you guys, because most of the time our goats are not even eating hay. They're out on pasture eating stuff that's fresh grown out there. And so they don't care much for hay. But today we're starting an experiment, and the experiment is alfalfa. Because I have heard really great things about feeding your goats 24/7 available alfalfa, and so we wanted to try it out. Now, alfalfa is not something new at all to our goats, because our goats have been eating alfalfa every day, twice a day forever. I mean, that's what we feed a majority of our ration for our milking mamas in the mornings. And then that's the only thing that we feed to everybody at night when we lock them up in the barn. And so alfalfa is nothing new, but you can see behind me, it's very exciting. So the goats have been nonstop eating since I first put it in there. Now, one thing that's been really interesting that I didn't know about was how very dusty alfalfa can be. And so, like you see here, I'm wearing a respirator whenever I put all that alfalfa into the hay ring because it was so much dust. Even the goats got covered in all the dust. And so that was a new thing for me. I did not realize the mess it would make. But you know what? If the protein content is there, I'm so for it. Now, while I finished putting all of the alfalfa in their hay feeder, let me tell you a few of the reasons why we just realized alfalfa was something we have got to try for our farm. The number one thing about alfalfa is that its protein is about double what you'll find in a typical grass hay. Grass hay tends to be about 8 to 10% protein, while alfalfa is going to be 16 up to 20% protein, and sometimes even higher. Now, protein is where our lactating or milk does are getting a lot of their calories. That's really important for them to get the nutrients they need to keep making milk without losing weight. And so this is a huge plus for us. In addition, alfalfa has 2 or even 3 times as much calcium as grass hay, which again is going into all that milk they're making. Calcium is so important to their bodies so that they can keep making all that good milk. Now, why is alfalfa so much better than just regular grass hay? And the answer is because alfalfa isn't grass. It's actually a legume like beans or peas. And so that's why the protein content is way higher. So grass is typically putting all of its caloric energy into sugar, while alfalfa hay, being a legume, is putting it into protein, making it a much better food for high production animals like dairy goats. So with all those great benefits in mind, I am so excited to see how this experiment turns out. So I will see you guys back here, well, in like 2 seconds for you, but it'll be a few weeks for me. Okay, here we are. It is 5 weeks later, and I am so incredibly excited to show you guys the results of this because I just didn't expect it to be quite as significant as it is. So in those 5 weeks, my 30-ish goats have gone through about a little over a full bale of this alfalfa. So these are like, I can't remember what they're called. They're basically the same as a big round bale, but they're made in rectangles because alfalfa is super dusty. It doesn't do well in round. And so they make them into these gigantic rectangles. So my goats have gone through around, it's probably about 1,200, maybe 1,300 pounds of alfalfa in 5 weeks, which, I mean, per goat, per pound, That's not terrible. That's pretty on par. And so the difference in their body condition, though, from just like a normal Johnson grass, Timothy grass, whatever, Bermuda, whatever our cheap hay was, versus this stuff, you guys, it's amazing. Okay, so here's a quick montage with some before and after shots so you can see the difference in just 5 weeks. So a few of those bellies are definitely way rounder than they were before, which is really exciting. I had a few does that were definitely under conditioned. They were weighing less than I wanted them to. Bella especially. She is one that is just near impossible to keep weight on. She puts a lot of milk in the pail, which is part of it, but mostly she just doesn't really like to eat very much. She's a hard one to feed because she just doesn't like many things. And so I think the alfalfa has helped for sure. Time will tell on her. She's a difficult one to keep in condition. But for the most part, I've noticed a little bit rounder bellies, which is great for the ones that were a little bit under conditioned. There are a few I've had to kind of cut off from getting to go with me to the milking area. They used to get like a little extra alfalfa with a tiny bit of grain in it. Vin was one of them, and she was getting pretty pudgy, and I don't want my does to be over conditioned, especially when they're, now that these girls are pregnant. We want to make sure we're not growing these gigantic babies. But even better than the big round bellies is just seeing how healthy their coats are. A healthy coat is a really, really good indicator of just an animal's overall health because they can't put any nutrients into hair growth if they don't have the nutrients to begin with. And so if we see a goat with a really nice, healthy coat, it's a great indication that they're really healthy inside too. Now, one thing that I've noticed that I definitely did not expect was the fact that my milking girls in the morning would be eating a whole lot less, simply because they're full of alfalfa all day, every day. And so what I've found is I used to fill up this barrel about every 10 days, and that's what my dairy goats ate. Just each morning as they were waiting for their turn on the stand, they stood around and ate a ton of food. And so that barrel would last me about 10 days. Well, this barrel has lasted me almost 3 weeks now, and I still have food in it. So they are definitely eating way less in the mornings than they used to. Thankfully, that's a nice little cost savings. It doesn't make up for the alfalfa, 1-to-1, but it does cut the cost by about a third. So I'm spending a little over $9 a day on alfalfa, but I'm saving about $3.25 a day from where I used to be spending on this morning grain mix. So then the big question is, are we going to keep doing this? Well, for our farm, we have, 4 more bales on the trailer, so we're definitely going to keep doing this. Unfortunately, alfalfa is pretty expensive compared to just your, run-of-the-mill hay. I can get just a cheap bale of hay for maybe $100. These alfalfa bales were $240, so we're talking about more than double the price. But when it comes to our animals' health, if I can really drastically improve their health just by a simple feed switch like that, most of the time it's worth it in the long run. The reality is we were spending a lot of money on supplements, on dewormers, on various things because animals in poor health can't maintain their health very well. Once they've already declined, things like parasites come in and make everything so much worse. And so if instead we can keep our animals at the upper end of conditioned, make sure that they have plenty of fat on their bones, their bodies can handle a whole lot more all on its own. And so I'm really thinking that at the end of the day, I'm going to have healthier animals and honestly a lower bill just because I don't have to buy all that stuff anymore, all the chemicals and dewormers and the stuff that I don't want in their bodies anyway. So this is definitely something we're going to keep doing, hopefully for the long run. Okay, so what about you? Have you ever tried doing alfalfa hay before? Leave me a comment below. Let me know how your experience was. We're only 5 weeks in, and so I've made a lot of conclusions off those 5 weeks, but the reality is this experiment is going to be ongoing for at least all of the winter because we are expecting to be feeding a lot of hay this winter. I have plans in the near future to get this pasture planted just with awesome things. I've got clover and rice seed and peas. I mean, it's gonna be amazing, hopefully. But I need rain. It will not rain. It has not rained a drop this entire month of October. And so I really, really need some rain before I can put seeds down. And then I'm really hoping for a lush pasture. But we always have a backup plan. And so our plan is just to feed a huge amount of this alfalfa hay if I can't get the pasture up and going for this cold winter season. So we're really hoping they can be on more forage, but if not, the hay experiment will continue through the winter. Well, as always, you guys, thank you so much for watching, for coming along, and for commenting, liking, subscribing. All those things really do help our channel so much. So leave us a comment below. Let us know how you're doing. Let us know what else you'd like to see from the farm. We really do appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video. All right, you guys, I have got to fix this because you can tell these goats love their alfalfa because of the way they eat it. They eat everything they can reach until it is gone. So I need to get this hay back where they can reach it. There we go. Lots more hay, happy animals. I love it. See you guys in the next video.